Wade Willis here, playing Fate Stay Night, the visual novel. Uh, it has finally been remastered for uh, Nintendo. They also have it at Steam, but again, I have a Mac, so everything becomes pretty difficult for me. So the tip of the sword was like a flash of lightning, a spearhead thrust to the skewer of the heart. Even in attempting to evade it was pointless. It was a burst of flash, too swift for the human eye to follow. And yet, moonlight swept in to save me from the strike that threatened to end me. The sound was beautiful, like the tolling of a bell. No, truth be told, the sound hung over me, heavier than an iron weight. This beauty had little to do with aesthetics. The stark armor wrapped about her was like the frozen night itself. The ringing was not in itself pleasant. It was the sound of steel. But the night herself was beautiful enough to make it into a chiming of the bell. Her voice resonated in the darkness. Indeed, the pact was sealed, just as she chose to serve me. I'm sure, in that moment, I swore to save her. The moonlight cut through the darkness. As if in imitation of the night, the storehouse regained its formal calm. Time had stopped. The vision before me had lasted less than a second. Be that as it may, I will always remember the sight of her as clearly as if it were happening now, even if I fall into the depths of hell. The faint slant of her profile, her serene, divinely green eyes. For a moment, time stopped. For her silhouette, draped in blue, swayed in the wind. I mean, Saber is a fox for sure. I was struck by the pale blue glow. Her hair, as fine as golden thread, was bathed in the moonlight. Man, so poetic, too. This happened 10 years ago. I see someone who takes me back. He's tall, with chiseled features. I've never known him to crack a joke. He ruffles my hair affectionately. No, that's not what this is. It's more like he's grasping at my head and working it like a stubborn jar lid. Maybe he doesn't know how to control his strength. That's only to be expected. It's the first time he's done something like this. It's time for me to leave. You know what to do next. I answered yes in a somber voice. He nodded once and withdrew his hand and stood up. That's all. Had I known this would be the last time I would ever see each other, I would have done my best to make him laugh with the perfect joke. I've been practicing punchlines in private in the hopes of finally seeing a smile crack that stony face. If I have one regret, it's that I never got to tell him any of my jokes. Get the association in your debt before you become an adult. Any decisions after that, I leave to you. I'm sure you'll manage on your own. So he said, but I bet he was worried about me. He told me about our family's heirloom jewels, the gems passed down to us from our Grand Master, and how to manage the underground workshop. It was a rapid-fire course of subjects he'd never taught me before. Even as a child, I realized that he would probably never come home again. There was a war. So yeah, this is going into the story with Fate Zero. I've been rewatching that again as to brush me up before I started playing this. I'm about halfway through Fate Zero right now. I thought it would be a good little refresher of the different characters and stuff and how it sets up everything for this. I couldn't remember, again, I only got about 10 minutes into this visual novel, or 10 hours into this visual novel, and yeah, I couldn't remember how much it goes into Fate Zero, but there's characters and things that happen that are kind of important for this. Not a war between countries, but between people. But in this war, there were only 7 combatants. It might not seem fitting to call it a war, but having mages involved changes things. 7 mages from different factions competed, but I wasn't sure why. They killed each other using methods I didn't really understand. One of them was a man in front of me. It meant that he would kill and eventually be killed. I'm sure he felt the ticking of his life's clock even more keenly than I did. Rin, before long, the Holy Grail will appear. It is the duty of the Tosakas to obtain it, but above all, it is a path we are destined to walk as mages. And with that, he ruffled my hair one last time and left. I never saw him again. My father/teacher was one of the masters who participated in the Holy Grail War. He never came home. See, I didn't even remember that he died in Fate, because certain people, spoiler for Fate Zero, survive, which you're gonna find out in this. So I'm not gonna tell you who, but I remember there were some people. I bid him farewell as a well-behaved daughter should. I knew I was on the verge of tears, but I didn't let them show. I loved him. He was a great father and even a greater mage. Mages are stubborn people. As far as I knew, there wasn't a more upstanding man in the world. As my instructor, he trained me. As my father, he loved me. So I decided I'd accept the things he left for me and chose my own path. Rin, before long, the Holy Grail will appear. It is a duty of the Tosakas to attain it, but above all, it is a path we are destined to walk as mages. In the end, his final words for me were given as a mage, not as a father. That's the moment I made up in my mind. So for this playthrough, everything that is the narrator, I'm going to read. Everything that is spoken out in Japanese and the words come up on the screen, I am not going to read. If people who are watching this decide, hey, I'd rather see you read everything, sure, I'll do it. But yeah, I don't think that that's what people will want. And it'll also take me longer to do this because I will really wear myself out. It's only natural for an apprentice to live up to her master's hopes. That's how I, Rin Tosaka, grew up after experiencing life's twists and turns. It's been 10 years since my father went off to war. I wouldn't say I've been looking forward to this day, but I am a bit on edge. That goes without saying, after all. The moment which was burned in my memory 10 years ago will soon be upon me again. Translation's pretty good. There's not really too much super strange language. Makes sense. I feel like this took forever for them to translate. I hear something. Ring ring. The noise doesn't stop. It's such an infernal racket. It's almost as if it's here to avenge my father. Is this recording? Oh, I am recording. Okay, sorry guys. In fact, it should. I stayed up into the early hours deciphering my father's will and used a hell of a lot of magic energy to do it. I'm totally exhausted, body and mind. The alarm clock is deaf to my complaints. What kind of machine makes noise that it seems like its sole purpose is to remind you that you're late? True, but there's a time and a place for everything. No matter how much of an overachiever I am, I should make it to school on time, at least for today, if only slightly. Oh, doesn't that sound off? I peer at the alarm clock through sleep-heavy eyelids. The hands point to 7 o'clock on the dot. I usually get up at 6:30, which means I've completely used up my safety margin. Speaking of which, why is my brain so slow in the morning? I glare at the alarm clock for several seconds. I shut off the alarm and glide sluggishly out of bed. The morning chill bites me as I cross the hallway and enter the parlor. This is the final 7 a.m. in January. Winters in Fuyuki are relatively warm, but the mornings here are cold as anywhere. Even at home, my breath mists white. It's that much colder without anyone else living here. I turn on the heater and go wash up. Single living is so inconvenient at times like these. Now I'll let you guys know. This is the prelude thing. It is a bit slower, I would say. Once you get past this, it really heats up. Like her house. I wash my face at the sink. I run a brush through my long hair and get dressed. The chilly morning frigid bathroom. The only thing to be said for it is that cold water mercilessly beats the sleepiness from me. With a final tug of the ribbon on my collar, I finish getting dressed. All that's left is to have breakfast and go to school. The clock reads just past 7, so my morning rush feels a bit anticlimactic. Of course I never do anything so uncouth as sprinting to school. The Tosaka family motto dictates that we conduct ourselves with confidence and elegance at all times. My ancestors must have been some high and mighty aristocrats, if that was what we've taught through the generations. The anachronistic, I don't even know what that word means. I'm assuming fancy and kind of old-fashioned. Plus, the Tosakas are in a special line of spell weavers who practice what is known as magecraft. We're not just an old family. We have an admirably storied history. I like Rin. There's another character I like a lot more in the Fate series. I'm definitely, as a heads up, I'm going to try to do the Fate route. There's 3 main routes to this. I'm going to do all 3 eventually. I'm going to try to do the Fate route first because I've never watched that story. Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel. I'm super familiar with those. Heaven's Feel is my favorite by far. Partially because of the character I like, but I think most people consider it the kind of masterpiece for Fate, for the Fate Stay Night stuff. So, the truth is, I'm a mage. Who could I even brag about that to? As the name suggests, magecraft is what most normal people would see as magic. It sounds like some supernatural woohoo, and if you'd like to think of it as just wiggling your finger and saying abracadabra, that's fine too. Just think of us as people who chant weird words and make equally weird stuff happen. That said, we don't fly around on broomsticks, we don't shoot stars out of wands either. We do all kinds of things or we can do things like that, but there's no point, so we don't. We're pretty much heretics who lurk in the shadows of society. We're not allowed to draw attention to ourselves, and anyone who has time for that kind of thing would rather spend it on their research. Ordinary humans might call us magicians, but that would be wrong. In fact, there are only 5 magicians in the world. Magicians are what we call people who can do something no one else can. They can accomplish feats beyond the means of modern science and perform genuine miracles. So that's probably important. I don't remember if in this story we meet any magicians. I'm pretty sure we do. Similarly, magic is the label we use for mystics, magical mysteries that can't be realized with any amount of time or skill. While magecraft, through it looks mysterious, is something anyone can do with enough time and resources. I'm a mage. The kind of mystics I use are merely magecraft, not true magic. Confusing, I know, but that's how it works. This is important, guys. Also, modern civilization doesn't accept the existence of mages. We believe in, manipulate, and study things that can't be measured, which puts us at odds with modern society. Above all, there's no point to any of what we do. You'd be so much happier just going off to a normal school and becoming a normal adult than you would studying magecraft. I would say, especially if you're going to end up being in this Holy Grail war, that is very true. Human technology has accomplished great things. For the last few centuries, magecraft has been playing catch-up to all the progress of civilization. Nothing is impossible for humanity anymore. Miracles that could be realized with magecraft in the distant past have been reduced to common tools and appliances. Even so, magecraft does have its benefits. Just as there are some things only science can accomplish, there remains heights only mystics can reach. If science is racing into the future, then mages are racing into the past. I think the Tosaka Grandmaster said that. Whether you're heading into the past or the future, your destination is the same. 0 or something like that. We shelve the difficult topics from now. Philosophy is for the elderly. I finish my breakfast and pick up my bag. I'm reluctant to take something so valuable to school, but it would be a waste to leave it behind. Yeah. I remember this thing's important, but one could even say it's on an entirely different level. I obtained the gem after decoding my father's will last night. It's imbued with 10 years worth of my own magical energy. I've been told that the Tosaka family has an heirloom jewels passed down since the olden days, and this might be one of them. Tosaka mages specialize in the conversational flow of power. We channel our magical energy into precious gems whenever we have a spare moment. Simply put, I'm a gun and the jewels are bullets. The other main thing I've inherited from my father is the mage crest engraved onto my left arm. The magical crest is proof that I'm the heir to our lineage. It's like all the techniques of the Tosakas consent into a tattoo. Yeah, these people go hard. For now, I stow my pendant, my father's keepsake, into a pocket. It's 7:30. I'd better leave soon if I don't want to be late for school. I think that's German. I weave energy into a brief foreign phase. As a mage, I can't neglect the security of my home base. That still applies even if I've never had so much as a single burglar, lost child, or a stray cat wander into my home. Yeah, but crap's about to get real for sure, guys. Actually, I don't think the neighbors have ever come home to say hello. Yeah, I wouldn't want any stray cats personally, but I look up from the mansion and that's been my home for over a decade. Fuyuki is a strange city. One side of the intersection dividing the residential areas is filled with old samurai estates, while the side I'm on has an abundance of mansions built in European style. Yeah, that's super... I'm not sure if this is a real city or not. I think it is, but Just knowing Japan and stuff, I think would be interesting to see a city with so many European style mansions. Apparently, a whole bunch of foreign families immigrated here long ago, but I've never seen a single foreigner around. There's even a cemetery of foreigners in Shinto, the new part of the city, across the river, but it was built for a generation that immigrated here. I make a mental note to ask the priest about it the next time I visit the church. He's nothing if not full of boring trivia for sure. He's something, alright. Something feels off as soon as I step outside. I wonder why this could be. There's no trace of the typical morning bustle. At 7:30 in the morning, it would normally be students and workers on their daily commute. Maybe everybody slept in. It's unusually cold today, so everyone must be snuggled up in bed. Even if that were true, it's strange that there isn't a single student on the street. At this time of day, you'd expect to see at least a school uniform or two. And yet, from where I am standing at the school gate, it looks like the morning club activities are just starting up. Oops. Well, I don't even know how I did that. With a light sigh, I turned my face to the student who called out to me. I can't remember this girl's name, but I remember I like her. Ayako Mitsuzuri. She's my classmate in 2A, and she has quite a history. She waves her hand in front of my face as if to ask if anyone's home. Ayaka is one of my few friends, and she knows I'm not a morning person. She's probably figured out by now that I'm still not completely with it. What's going on here? Father must have set the clocks to go haywire once I took the pendant out of the underground cellar. Oh gosh. There's gonna be someone you guys do not like. I'm acquainted with 3 of its members. One is Ayako, the girl I'm talking to right now. I barely speak to the other 2. One of those latter 2 is one I can't explain away as simply an acquaintance. I became friends with Ayako, the club captain, because I'd be watching the club from afar. One of our school's trademarks is its well-equipped archery range. The chair of the school board has a passion for Kyoto, traditional Japanese archery, so they build a magnificent range on campus. It's kind of a waste for the high school club, to be honest. Yeah, this thing's so nice. Ayako tugs on my arm, looking somewhat pleased. If I'm being honest, her brusque way of speaking is a bad habit. As Ayako said, there's no one else at the range. We sip Japanese tea that's so hot it numbs my tongue as we prepare ahead for today's classes. The hot drink is delicious in the quiet wintry archery range. Yeah, this girl's a trip, man. And she uses the occasion to ask me something completely ridiculous. I can't remember who her friend likes. Might be the same one as Rin. I cannot remember though. Yeah, I think it's interesting how they perceive relationships and stuff. She chuckles confidently. She did, didn't she? Kill or be killed. I'm pretty sure how that'll be in between the two of us. I was genuinely surprised to have someone to say that right off the bat. Translation, our friendship won't bloom unless we're constantly trading blows. Is what Ayako was getting at. I agree with her. In these 2 years since then, I still haven't figured out whether she's my friend or nemesis. Oh man. I started this contest 2 years ago. I think both of them lose. Ayako snickers in delight. My goodness, Ayako Matsuri is, to put it mildly, a handful. I'll admit, I'm looking forward to winning myself, so that goes for us both. That is true. Ayako's sigh is heavy. From what I've heard, she's known as a bit of a misandrist. Can't put too much stock in gossip though. That she made this bet at all means less that she doesn't like boys and more that she hasn't found the right person. That aside, Rin's literally the most stereotypical tsundere, so I don't know about that.
もしくは気づいていないだけ。遠坂が男を気にかけるなんてことは絶対ないもの。今まで数えきれないぐらい告白されたくせに一つも色良い返事してないじゃない。少しでも興味があるなら付き合おうって思うでしょ。なのに断り続けるってことはあんたは男に興味がないってことよ。
発想が貧困ね。その場合すでに好きな相手がいるから断ってるって話もありじゃない？
うわ、すっごい美談。いいね、そういう。
You're gonna find out if this is a lie pretty quickly, I think. Ayako's tone isn't mocking. She nods solemnly. Her sigh tells me that it would be nice if it were true. I don't believe myself. I really can't hide anything from her. She's right. I know very well how cold I am.
そういうこと。似た者同士だって言ったのも遠坂でしょ。もうじき7時か。秘密の話はこの辺にしとこう。いつ人がやってくるかわからないし、朝になったら学生らしく振る舞わないかな。
Alright. I think it's about time for my least favorite character to come into this. Ayako sniffs exaggeratedly. I empty the rest of the teacup she poured me and brew a new pot. Yeah, I was like, is that a backhanded compliment? Ayako slaps the table. Ayako side-eyes me with a huff. She has a unique idea about beauty. A beautiful woman must walk the martial path. She's always going on about that. Not surprisingly, she's well-versed in most martial arts. Kyoto was the discipline she was least skilled at, so she joined the club and worked her way up to captain. I mean, that's impressive. It says a lot about her. If the thing that you are the least skilled at, you're going to join the club and then you become a captain of it because you're so, you got so good at it. She's probably one of the top 3 people in our school you least want to mess with. I would say yes. Okay, well I guess she's not the best then. Oh, there was someone who used to be in the club that was really good. Yeah.
そろそろ部員がやってくるからでしょ。私はおいとまする。
何見ていかないのシャ？
見てもわからないもの。遠くから眺める分にはいいけどね。不心得者が道場にいるわけにはいかないでしょ。
Just as I go up to leave, the first club members begin entering the archery range.
おはようございます、師匠。
Yeah, this is Sakura.
ああ、おはようマト。今朝は一人？
はい、力になれず申し訳ありません。
ああ、いいっていいって。本人が弓をやらないって言うんなら無理をさせても仕方がない。
I think I know who she was trying to get. Ayako speaks to the first club member to
それ
arrive.
じゃあ失礼するわ。また後でね、水月さん。
ああ、また後でね、遠坂。
お疲れ様です、遠坂先輩。
You're gonna learn a lot more about Rin and Sakura's relationship.
ありがとう。さくらもしっかりね。
It's extremely strange. I leave the dojo behind as not to get in the way. Here we go. So my least favorite character is not Sakura. That's actually my favorite character. This guy sucks. Oh no. Here comes the person I least wanted to see.
おはよう、マト君。今日は早いのね。
当たり前だろ。首相なんだから。早めに来ないと一年に示しがつかないじゃないか。
I forgot this guy was a Mato also, to be honest. Shinji Mato from Class 2C grins at me. He's the vice captain of the Kyudo club and darling of half the girls at school. I can't believe any girl likes this guy. It's mostly thanks to his looks, of course, but he's also admired for his good grades, social graces, and being kind to girls, and being an overall heartthrob or something like that. I really don't follow that kind of stuff. It's just what I hear my classmates say.
そう。ご機嫌なところ悪いんだけど、一文字抜けてるわ、マト君。大事な字だから忘れない方がいいと思うけど。
I totally forgot what he said.
一文字抜けてる。
幸福の福。字は違うけど、字は一緒でしょ。
Oh, okay.
気をつけなさい。別に首相も副首相も変わらないけど、変に意識するとこだわってるみたいに聞こえるでしょ。
She's so sassy.
そうだね。今後は気をつける。ありがとう、どうぞか。
This guy's
お礼を言われるようなことはしてないけど、まあ、マト君がそう思ったのなら私には関係ないか。
With that, I turn to leave the range.
ちょっと待てよ。見学に来たんだろう。なら見ていけばいいじゃないか。
Yeah, of course you want this girl to watch you.
遠慮するわ。練習の邪魔をしたくないもの。
そんなの構わないよ。他の連中が気に障るんなら締め出すからさ。ちょっと寄っていけって。
だから邪魔をする気はないって言ってるでしょ。それに私、別に弓道に興味があるわけじゃないから。知らないやつのシャを見ても嬉しくないわ。
It's fair.
なんだよ、遠坂。弓道に興味はなかったのか。へえ。だっていうのに、放課後になると遠くから見てたのは。
Yeah, it wasn't for you, Doof Magoo. That's for sure. I don't know what he's playing at, but he seems to have seriously misunderstood things.
知ってたの、マト君。
ああ、よく目があったんだぜ。僕と遠坂。シャを終えて声を返したかったけど、一応決まり。車上では声を上げちゃいけない。
This guy is such a Shinji starts closing in on me, looking pleased with himself. I see the triumphant glint in his eye, competing with that affable smile.
勘違いしてたよ。遠坂は弓が好きなんだと思ってたけど、弓道には興味がな
Ugh,
かった。
gross.
ならなんで遠坂は道場を見ていたのか。
Ah, now I see. It would sound like that, wouldn't it?
離れてくれないかしら、マト君。私、あまり
Yeah, you tell him.
言われるのは好きじゃないし。
なに遠坂。
あ、キレた。ここまで言ってもわからないよね。趣味じゃないけど仕方ないか。簡単にあなたにも理解できるように言ってあげる。
This kind of stuff is why I like Rin.
いいマト君。私が弓道に興味がない以上にあなたに興味がないって言ってるのよ。実際、
Damn.
市場にいたなんて今初めて知ったぐらいだし、きっとこれからも目に入らないわ。
なんだと。
She's so rude. But he deserves it. I must have touched a nerve because he tries to grab me roughly. Oh, see, this is... I twist out of his reach and turn to leave.
それじゃあね、マト君。自意識過剰なのも結構だけど、ほどほどにしておいた方がいいわよ。
Yeah, this guy sucks.
遠坂、お前。
Shinji sounds like he's about to say something, but he keeps his temper and doesn't chase after me. The guy is all style, no substance. If he had even a little backbone, the people around him wouldn't suffer nearly so much. I take the rear entrance into campus from the archery range. It's past 7 now, but there still aren't students in the hallways. Oh. Okay, I kind of remember this teacher.
おはようございます、藤村先生。おはよう、遠坂さん。ちゃんと挨拶してくれて、先生は嬉しいよ。
The strange woman pretends to sob in delight. It may be hard to believe, but this extraordinary, affectionate, and happy-go-lucky woman is actually a teacher here.
先生、ちゃんと挨拶をする以外にする挨拶があるのでしょうか。あるわよ。1年生はちゃんと挨拶してくれるんだけどね。上級生になってくると私の名字で挨拶しないんだから。はあ、よくわかりませんけど、先生に失礼なことはしませんが。
That would be kind of weird using her first name, even in America.
みんながみんな遠坂さんみたいだったらいいのにな。
With a parting wave and Sia, Miss Fujimura leaves. Fortunately, she isn't my homeroom teacher. Miss Fujimura teaches English. Her sunny attitude belies her expert rank in Japanese fencing kendo. In her student days, they called her the Fuyuki Tiger. Oh yeah, I forgot she's a badass. That's the mystery though. You'd think someone known as a tiger would be feared, not adored, right? Miss Fujimura cheerily heads off in the direction of the archery range. For some reason, she's a faculty advisor to the Kyoto Club instead of Kendo Club. It's just before 7:30. I can see students doing their club activities on the school grounds, but there's hardly anyone indoors. Except... Oh, I forgot about this Doofmagoo. He always blurts out my name like I did something wrong every time he sees me.
あら、生徒会長。こんな朝早くから校舎に来たのに？それとも各部室の手入れかしら？どっちでもいいけど相変わらず。
This guy isn't... If I remember right, I think he's a decent dude. He's just a tryhard for sure.
そういうお前こそ何を企んでいる？部活動もしていないお前がこんな早くに何の用か？
ただの気まぐれよ。リュウド君ちみたいに早起きじゃないもの、私。
Student Council President's handsome face darkens with suspicion. He seems to have it out for me. Really don't know why. Maybe me saying temples are so dull pass is what started it. Well, that's...
一つ聞いておくが、
Oh, I remember there's a lot of stuff with that.
ないわね。私が来た時だって知ってるでしょ、リュウド君は。
当然だ。生徒会長を任された以上、全校生徒の情報は把握して。
It's so interesting how student council is portrayed in Japan. I don't know if it's actually how it is. I think it does seem like a big deal because in America it does not. Most schools it doesn't mean that much.
なんだってそんなことか知らないけど、生徒会の仕事を部外者に押し付けちゃまずいんじゃない？情報収集は一人でやりなさいよ。私みたいな部外者に頼らないで。
たわけ？お前のどこが部外者だ？うちの会計の首根っこ掴んで悪さをしたのを知らぬと思ったが、この名実。
あら、人聞きが悪いわね。あれは三辻さんに頼まれて部費の割合を明らかにしただけでしょ。みんなの予算がどこに使われ
Who's
て
the
るか知らない
treasurer?
生徒として当然の行為だと思うけど。
Is that Mitzi Zuri?
うちの会計を1週間休ませた精神的ダメージが当然の行為なのか。とんで。
あなたもね、
Oops.
部下の手綱ぐらいちゃんと握ってなさい。文化系ばかりひいきするのはフェアじゃないわ。
I mean, we're gonna figure out who it is. I just can't remember.
分かっている。だからこそ俺の手で不正を正したかったのだが。
Just then, an unexpected visitor makes his presence known.
悪い。頼んだのはこっちなのに、エミヤに任せっきりにしてしまった。許せ。
Oh,
ああ、次は視聴覚室だ。前から調子が悪かったそうなんだが、この度ついに天寿を全うされた。
if it's completely broken, I can fix it, but it'd be easier to buy a new one. It's weird we're not hearing his voice.
俺から見れば臨終だが、お前から見れば仮病かもしれん。
I mean, he is the main character. Beckoned by the other student, the president leaves. I'd stopped thinking during this sudden turn of events. The other boy, wrench and screwdriver in hand, turns as if he remembers something. You're early today, Tosaka. He awkwardly mutters and leaves. Was that supposed to be a greeting? The president and the student called Emiya walk off into the distance. That would be Shiro Emiya from Class 2C.
それはいいんだけどさ。
How do I put it? The wrench looked right at home in his hands, but I'm not sure if it's because it made him look tough or handy. At 7:30 a.m., there's nobody in Class 2A. I take a seat at my desk and flip through my math workbook. It's still 30 minutes until morning homeroom. I've got time to kill until my classmates start arriving. The classroom is lively as the lunch break begins after fourth period. My school has a cafeteria, so only about half of the students stay in the room. It's mostly girls that stay behind. The girls think the cafeteria is a bit too liberal with the seasoning, so... I honestly cannot remember this girl at all. We girls tend to enjoy our lunches as a group.
ありがとう、三枝さん。けどごめんなさい。私今日は学食なんです。今朝は寝過ごしてしまってお弁当を作る余裕がなかった
I
も
mean,
ので。
she underslept, but really thought she overslept.
そうなんですか。ごめんなさい。そうとも知らず呼び出してしまって。
Is this the girl from Fate Zero? I cannot remember. I think she might be in Fate Zero. Seigusa looks guilty at her feet. Among the refined and well-behaved students of Class A, she's the most demure. For some reason, she's really nice to me.
余計なことだなんてそんな
I don't think she's from Fate Zero then, because
たまたまだから気にしない。
there's definitely a reason for her to be nice.
じゃあこれに懲りず声をかけてください。はい。でも遠坂さんでも寝過ごすこともあ
Perhaps my style made her feel better. Segusa turns back at her table looking relieved. She's adorable. Yukika Segusa isn't drop-dead gorgeous, but her smile always puts everyone around her at ease.
ええ、そうなんです。なんとかごまかしてますけど、本当は寝ぼすけなんですよ、私。部活だって朝起きられないから入ってないんです。
Segusa somehow maintains an elegant air even when startled. Watching her reactions is always so calming, but that doesn't mean I have time just to sit here and talk. If I keep conversation with this someone so disarming, the real me is bound to show herself.
それじゃあ食堂に行ってきます。三枝さんもごゆっくり。はい、遠坂さんも。
Segusa and I exchange some graceful meetings and she returns to her friends. I see that she's eating with Kade Makidera and Kane Himuro. Oh right, wasn't Segusa the track and field club manager? Makidera and Himuro are the track and field club's rising stars. Makidera is a bad influence with whom I go window shopping on days off, but I don't know Himuro too well.
お、売られたね、ゆきっち。だから言ったでしょ。遠坂は弁当持ってこないって。釣りたかったらあいつの分も飯用意しないとね。
Okay, I remember this girl.
マキ、それは私たちの食堂に移動すればいいだけの話でも。ダメダメ。食堂は狭いんだから。弁当組が座れるスペースなんてねっての。それ遠坂と同席してみなさい。前の休みだってさ、二人で遊びに行ったのにあいつだけ得しちゃってさ。やだよね。
Yeah, I forgot. This girl's really funny. Makidera takes a hold of Segusa's desk and continues to rant about me. Oops. Despite her foul mouth, she actually wears a kimono very well, like a picturesque Japanese beauty.
牧野氏、君の陰口は遠坂城に聞こえているようだ。
Meanwhile, Himuro's cool and solid demeanor are a complete foil to that of Makidera.
遠坂に聞かれた。ゲゲ、めっちゃ睨んでるじゃん、あいつ。
Girl's so ridiculous.
別に遠坂さん、マキちゃんは睨んでなんかないと思う。睨んでんだよ、あれ。あいつは笑ってる時が一番怖いんだから。なんだよ、いいじゃんか口ぐらい。多めに見ろよ。
So ridiculous.
遠坂の中だろ。たい焼きおごってやっただろ。
Kade Makidera puffs her cheeks in a pout, waving her disposable chopsticks in the air. Would you believe that her hobby is collecting wind chimes? The world works in strange ways. At any rate, it's rude to Segusa to stare at all three of them. Caught between me and the foul-mouthed Makidera, Segusa looks like she doesn't know what to do with
気に
herself.
しないでいいのよ、三枝さん。それと牧寺さ、おごらされたのは私で、品物はたい焼きではなくクレープでした。無意識に事実を改ざんする悪役。次あたりに直さないと考えます？
After this exchange, I'm gonna end for this session.
ある笑顔。
Makidera holds up her lunchbox lid like some kind of shield. I bid the odd trio farewell and leave the classroom. And slid the door closed. Oops.
なんだよ。挨拶入っちゃうか、たい焼きもクレープも。どっちも甘いの。皮で包んでるんだから。
Oh, I was thinking of Taki. What is that, the octopus thing? Makidera, oh, there's something blasphemous for a girl.
たい焼きとクレープが同じですって？
Is she even human? All the desserts are the same to her? If I'd known that her taste buds can't distinguish Fleur's 500 yen very, very berry from a 80 yen taiyaki at Edomeya, damn you, Kade Makidera, I could have saved 420 yen. So then you have $5 or $4 difference. I still must be tired from last night. The cafeteria sounds like a pain, so I'll just buy bread from the counter and eat on the roof. Alright, I'm gonna end here. how do I save this thing? Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna end here for now. I have to feed my dog and stuff. So, yeah, I think all this is working. So I will be trying to do this. I mean, 2 to 3 times a week. Some sessions will be longer. Some will be maybe 30 minutes or something. But I think on average it'll be about an hour, hour and a half probably. So, yeah, thanks for checking this out. And yeah, let me know, like, subscribe, or whatever, and let me know what improvements you would like me to make on this, and I will try to improve them if I can. Thanks.